Hi everybody, I'm Paul Tran. Welcome to Learning Unplugged, the place where we mix some acoustic music with some acoustic learning. What we mean by acoustic learning, learning with no technology except the camera pointing at me right now. What we do on Learning Unplugged is we take a look at some simple, effective ways of helping us think and do things differently. So let's put the mandolin away for a moment. Today, we're going to take a look at some things we can do when we hear something that isn't quite right. It could be from one of our colleagues in an open plan office. It could be somebody on site. It could even be something that somebody says in a sales pitch that just goes horribly, horribly wrong and is less than inclusive. Now, there's 4 things we can do when we hear this stuff. The first thing, of course, is that we've got to notice it. Let's be ready for what's right, what doesn't quite hit the mark. The second point is that we've got to do something. I'm sure a lot of us have been in a situation where we've heard something, we haven't liked it, we could tell the person who was being spoken to didn't like it, and we did nothing, and we regretted it later. The important thing is that we do something. We don't have to get it absolutely spot on. We've got to do something. And there's 2 things we can do. The first thing we can do is do what we call it out. In the moment, right there in front of everyone that's around, we say, I heard this, I didn't like it, I could tell they didn't like it, I really think you ought to say something different next time. Now, there's some advantages of taking the call it out approach. First thing is, everybody knows that you've noticed it and you've done something about it. You've shown that you care, that you're interested. And you're actually literally dealing with it. You're letting somebody know that what they've said might not have been quite the right thing to say. There's a couple of things that we've got to be mindful of with this approach, though. The first thing is, we may not know the full backstory. There could be context that we're not aware of. The second thing is that we could actually be putting that person under pressure. You may actually get into a situation where they react, where they clam up, where they get very defensive, and it doesn't actually resolve the situation. So we've got to be mindful when we call it out about the reactions that we might get and the fact that we might not know the full story. The second thing we can do is do what we call it in. And this is where we take the person to one side and we have a conversation, a 2-way conversation about what we think we heard and how we think some people reacted in the room. And we also find out what they think they said, what they thought they meant, what they intended. And also maybe get an idea of what led to them saying what they said. And here, there's a few things to think about. We learn their backstory. We learn what they really meant, and we also give them a chance to change things in the way that they're comfortable with. So it allows them to save face as well. Now, the potential downside for this approach is that you call someone into an office or a room, and everybody does that kind of look, and everybody's wondering what's going on. We have to be able to deal with that as well. So what we do is we call it out or we call it in. And then later on, what we've really got to do is follow up. Has their behaviour changed for the better? Have they found a better way of dealing with their colleagues or dealing with potential clients or customers? What's the temperature like in the office, in the workplace, wherever it is? And follow up and see what the differences are. What else has everybody else noticed? So that's how we deal with unpleasant words, unpleasant gestures in the workplace. Notice it, do something about it, either by calling it out or calling it in, and then follow up to make sure things have really changed and embedded for the better. Give it a go. Let me know how you get on in the comments below. And if you want to know a little bit more about Learning Unplugged or my work in general, take a look at the website, ptps.co.uk. Or you can look at the YouTube channel, which is Paul Tran Trainer. Have fun. learning to call it in or call it out. And I'll see you soon on the next Learning Unplugged.